Alright, so my internet is out and I cannot do remote work today. So I thought, this is a good day to start making my YouTube videos. I get paid hourly, so I'm not getting paid to sit there disconnected. I might as well make some videos. I've been wanting to make videos for a while, and normally by the time I get off of work, I'm too tired, it's too late, or I'm too busy doing other chores, so I'll take this time to make videos now. This video I wanted to talk about dreams and spirituality, and I'll pretty much just base this off of my blog that I typed up. So I'll probably look at my phone every once in a while because I can't look at the internet on my computer. So for me, in my experience, when I have dreams, sometimes I can have different classes of dreams, and they're easier to categorize since I get more sleep during the pandemic, but I've always had pretty vivid dreams throughout my life. There could be times when my dreams feel more real than life, or I might just have a fleeting dream where it doesn't really impact anything. So I'll go through my list of my classifications of dreams. I'm not a scientist or any sort of dream researcher in an official capacity. These are just from my experience. So the first type I have, fleeting dreams. So again, these are the dreams that most people probably have, where something happens. It might just be a recap of your day, a mishmash of things you saw on TV, you did on the computer, or whatever. Just a replay of what you did, maybe trying to reenact it and figure it out in your mind. It might not mean anything or be very important. You might forget about it minutes after you wake up, or you just might not even remember it because it was so insignificant when you wake up. And I kind of speculate that this would be the dream type that, a lot of people have, especially if they're less spiritually oriented and they might not get enough sleep. I've had, in fact, people comment, oh, it's just a dream, or not to take it so seriously, but from what I surmise is they only have these kind of fleeting dreams, and they don't have any experience, so they cannot believe or understand or comprehend the other dream types that are more advanced or sophisticated, that I'll describe next. So if this is all you have, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with having just fleeting dreams. It's perfectly fine. It is what you need. You'll get what you need at any time. So let me go on to my next type of dream. Okay, this is the fun part that people probably have heard of. Astral projection dreams. Okay, so these are dreams where you are conscious and you feel like you leave your body. You could potentially feel like you lift out of your body in your bed. A lot of times for me, not every time, but a lot of times I'll find myself waking up from my room in my bedroom and then deciding, what am I going to do next? Am I going to go visit someone? Am I going to go walk around the house, or I'm going to do something cool, just like invent a place to go to. Let me see, I don't know if I want to say this one now or yet. Oh yeah, okay. So I just wanted to go in order of my blog post. And in one of my specific cases, I had a dream. Of all days, I was taking a nap on Halloween, when my cat came into my house for the first time and decided to adopt me. But anyways, I had a dream where I woke up from my bed and I was like, oh cool, I'm in an astral projection. Just let me make sure and verify that this is in fact an astral projection. I don't want to damage my body. And this is what I was thinking to myself in the dream state. So I walked from my bedroom to the living room and I pushed myself through the glass in the window. And it's like, okay, cool, it is in fact a dream. I cannot hurt myself. So then after that, I looked around at the earth, and behind my house, at least at the time, there was more woods. And I saw this bright light, as I have described in another blog post of mine. When I looked at the light, it had the words G-O-D, God, underneath it. And it was labeled God, so there was no confusion on what the thing was. Which is pretty funny because in my waking life, I will normally say, for spirit, if they're going to send me a sign, make sure it's very clear and obvious, because I need to get it through my monkey mind and my doubt. So I had the sign that said it was God. There was a big bright light. It wasn't the sun, because at that time of year the sun is a different part of the sky. So it was me, and then I started to see other kind of humanoid spirits that were starting to like just turn into more of a sphere shape, and we're all going towards this big bright light. As we got closer, it turned into a kaleidoscope kind of look, kind of like a hippie thing. The colors were breaking down, and we all were going close to the light, whatever it was, but it certainly felt more real than life. I've also had other dreams where I decided to visit people. Sometimes they'll let me into their astral space, and sometimes they won't. Let's see, what else did I list in here? I guess in one of my, it's not necessarily astral projection kind of dream, but in one of my recent dreams I had to realize when I was coming back to my waking state and being in my body, I had to remind myself to abide by the laws of nature and the laws of San Antonio. Because in that dream I was swimming in the San Antonio River. I think I talk more about that in another, I'll save that for a bit later. But then there's another instance where I had to remind myself to abide by the laws of time. So I thought it was kind of funny when I go from my dream state to my waking state, I'll be reminding myself to follow these human earth rules. Let's see, next dream type. Okay, so this other dream type I have next listed is conscious dreams. So these might be dreams where you know you're dreaming, but you're still not in control. And then my example is, oh yeah, so one of the cases of this, I had a dream, even just this year, where I was on a different planet. In my waking state, I'm a vegan and I don't eat meat, but in the dream state, I knew it was a dream, so I knew it was okay to eat animals or things like that in this dream. I was on this planet, it was like an ocean world. It was kind of maybe like, I don't know, 6 inches of water or something like that. Something kind of shallow. And I was in an alien body. And it was kind of like I was just going along for the ride to observe, kind of. It wasn't necessarily me in control of the dream. And I saw this like kind of shellfish, clamshell thing in the water, and I reached down and I ate it kind of like an oyster. And since I knew it was a dream and it wasn't my real earth body, I was okay just to, eat it. Which is funny because I normally don't eat meat. In fact, I've had other dreams where I didn't realize I was dreaming, and I would adhere to my vegan standards to not eat meat in those dreams, which is pretty funny, but I guess it shows how down to the core that I am vegan. Let's see, the other one. The other way you might see conscious dreaming is when you want something and it instantly happens. Like if you're in a dream and you're like, well, I'd really like to see a river right now, and then you go around the hill and there's a river. You might say, oh, I really would like to go to Colorado right now, and maybe you might move around kind of like a dot on a map, and then now you're in a different state or a different city, wherever you want it to be. So the word conscious dreaming, I think, can probably go with ways. Maybe I need to classify those out separately or something like that. Let's see. So my next dream type I have listed is more real than life dreams, and I have 3 examples in here. I'll just touch on one and then go more in depth because it kind of spills into a different category too. Probably the most potent dream I've had ever was when my cat died. And I had a ghost dream with him, and in that dream it felt more real than life. And like I said, just give me a second, I'll go more detail for that in the next category. And other more real than life dreams I've had, kind of dramatic and kind of exciting, kind of tragic in the same thing was when I met someone I met that was like my best friend for some years. When I had first met him in real life, I had a dream, and it felt like I said, it just felt more real than life. It was a sexual encounter with that person, and I described it as the best I ever felt, and I still haven't felt that good before or since. But that was when I first met the guy, and maybe about 5 years later, I had another dream with him that felt more real in life. I of course had other dreams involving him with him, in other spiritual, meetings throughout the time. But at the end of the relationship, I had a dream where he came to me and he said he was going to be leaving, and then it wasn't like it was an argument or anything. He was just letting me know it's a heads up he was going to be leaving. And I didn't like beg him to stay or anything. I was just told him that I was just grateful to have met him and known him during that time. About a month later, he ended up not talking to me because he decided to go on his own path with his own, friends and do his own thing. He was my best friend for a long time, but it just kind of, I guess it was nice. It was the courtesy of him to give me the heads up that he was going to be leaving the dream. After I woke up from that dream, I told him the dream, and, I always wanted to see if the other person had the dream too, or if they're conscious of it. He just brushed it off like it was nothing. Little did I know a month later that we would be completely not talking after that. But I do feel like it wasn't necessarily my fault that we weren't friends anymore. It was just that he had to do something else in his life, and he wanted to give me that goodbye. Subsequently, I had other dreams of him. We had not been in contact, but like, I've had dreams where I pulled on his ponytail and he kind of looked mad at me like he wasn't ready to talk. I've had dreams where we were eating at my grandma's kitchen table for some reason. He didn't know my grandma, but I was just there sitting, eating, and talking to people, and he, to be polite to me, wasn't talking to me. He didn't want to stir anything up, and then I said like hello, how are you doing? Something very casual like that, and he was just like stunned that I was still willing to talk to him. So then after that, I had subsequent dreams where we would talk to each other, and it would feel, in any of those dream instances, like it was more real than life, and like there had been no gap in communication, like we'd always been friends since then. Which is interesting to have all these dream encounters with someone that's still alive. I know people sometimes might have dream encounters with people that are ghosts that are left, but in a way, he's a living ghost to me. But I think if you haven't had a dream that feels more real in life, you probably just wouldn't be able to empathize with how it feels. You'd probably think it's crazy, or people being dramatic or over-exaggerating. It's a very distinct feeling. If you had a dream like that, you know it. Like there's no other way to say it. You just know it. So let me go on to the next dream type. Ghost dreams. Alrighty. So for me, I'm fairly lucky. I don't know too many humans that have died. The only person that really was kind of close to me was my grandma, who died when I was a kid, and I don't remember it all too much. I don't have very many memories of her, so it didn't really hurt me. I think I cried at the time because I was sad, but as an adult, it's just a distant memory. But to go into some backstory on my personal life, I was once in an abusive relationship, and one of the ways the guy was mean to me was by being mean to my cat. He would do awful things, like he would smoke pot and then like blow it into his face, and the cat would freak out, and then he would put him in the cage, and then the cat broke his tooth trying to get out of the cage. And there's a lot of dumb things I expected from this guy, but you know, when you're in an abusive relationship, it takes about 7 to 9 times to get out of really trying to get out of it. Towards the end of that relationship, my cat Simba went missing, and it kind of makes sense, you know, the cat didn't like being inside the house so much anymore, because that's where the guy was, you know, but this house is different from my parents' house. My parents' house had less wild animals. This house clearly has more wild animals like coyotes, and there's even like a deer out there and stuff. So one of the few times the cat went out, he went missing. He didn't come back. Normally he would, you know, just camp out in the tree behind the fence, you know, being close but not in danger. But this time he didn't come back. And I was looking for him, trying to find him. I put posters up. I put things on, you know, social media trying to find him on like Nextdoor. And I couldn't find him. Within a few days I had a dream with my cat. And this dream, it did feel more real than life. And it seemed like certainty to me that there was some sort of afterlife. The cat, because I don't know of any humans that died, the cat appeared to me in a dream, and he wanted, from what I surmised, you know, after thinking about it, was to give me closure. He looked huge. He was a big giant cat, and I was trying to hug him, because, you know, he was so huge. I had to hug him with my finger to finger spread, you know, and he was just there. He didn't say anything. He was just there, and he let me hug him. I told him that I missed him so much, and I just kept rubbing into his face, into his kitty chest. But, you know, it was kind of like his way of saying goodbye, because he clearly saw me frantically looking for him on Earth. I still would look for him because I'm stubborn. I'm an Aquarius, but, you know, I kind of figured that he was dead at the time, you know, because, I mean, I had a ghost dream. So that's my story for a ghost dream. I'm sure other people have ghost dreams where humans have died. Luckily, I haven't had such an occasion for me as an adult to encounter, but apparently you can have a ghost dream with a cat. So that kind of makes you kind of wonder, I would think, is it right to eat meat if the cats are having spirit ghost dreams, you know? I kind of see the animals as equals myself, but, you know, that's, I guess, a different topic if you think it's ethical to eat animals. Okay, so this next category, I'm sure I'll get some flack for, and I totally would say this is bogus myself if I heard it and I had not had an experience myself. But the next topic or classification is alien dreams, which pretty much, you know, straddled some of the other topics of feeling more real than life, or being like kind of in an astral sense. But I'll just share my 3 stories and you can think what you want. So in one of my alien dreams, I was in like a kind of school cafeteria area. My astrologer and my mom were there. There was some sort of conference or something that was, you know, getting people to leave this cafeteria area to go into the other room. But I wasn't interested in that. There was someone sitting next to me, and in the dream he looked hot. Somehow he shared he was 1/17th. Apparently that's what I wrote down in my blog. For some reason I was thinking it's 1/14th, but I have 1/17th down, so that's what I'm going to go with, because that's what I wrote down. 1/17th alien, which was very specific. When I woke up, I tried to figure out the math and how that would make sense biologically, but then I decided to not try to figure it out. That's probably not even the point. But in that dream, I started making out with a dude, and it felt really good, which is nice, you know, because I'm single and it's a pandemic, so there's nothing going on here. So that's one of my alien dreams, which is not earth-shattering, but I just thought it was interesting that the person would communicate their lineage to be 1/17th. Let's see. Okay, this next dream with an alien. It's very specific, and I actually drew out illustrations, so I'll probably overlay those on the video instead of my face. In this dream, there was a goofy looking camera, and it was like everything was like in a cartoon goofy looking like style. It wasn't like a photorealistic style. It's all like cartoonish. So there's this big yellow camera, and then it was hopping around because it had like some metal bracing that kind of like slatted out from a shoe, which was also a goofy looking shoe. That was a boot. It was brown, and it was kind of just like, I guess I seem goofy, but like it was like kind of hopping along, and it came onto this TV. The TV, it had a picture of the Earth, but again, it wasn't like a photorealistic version of the Earth. It was like some child drew it. It was kind of sloppy and clunky, and the Earth zoomed out, and then you saw the frame of the TV, and then there was this camera that was pushing onto the glass screen of this 4x3 old school TV, like those wooden ones that your parents would have, not like the modern TVs we have today. But from that, I got the sense that they were watching us, and then they were very concerned for us, what we were doing. But it wasn't like they were going to actually interfere. It was our choice to do what we wanted to do. I guess kind of like a prime directive of Star Trek, like, let them do what they want, let them destroy the world if they want. We can't stop them. It's their choice. And then after the fact, I was also thinking of all ways to present the information. It made sense to put it in a cartoon because it made the message more approachable and less scary. And it didn't focus on the alien's body. It just focused on the message more than them, because the message was what was more important. I had also got the sense that this camera, the little goofy camera, was it came from a very, very far distance. So that's my other alien dream. Let's see if I have another one. I'll put it on here just in case I get lazy and I don't want to, okay, and I don't want to edit the video. Okay, so the next dream type I have is daydreams or waking dreams. So this is probably a more common or obvious type that people have experienced when you're bored out of your mind at school or at work, and you just start kind of imagining things in your head. Not necessarily that you are controlling the imagination, it just starts happening for you. You could be controlling it too and having like a conscious waking dream. But I don't think there's too much explanation or discussion I have for this one. Okay, so I have past life or alternative life dreams. So if you're crazy like me and you're like, well, time doesn't exist and everything's happening simultaneously, there's no past, present, and future. So what we might see as past in the Earth timeline is really just an alternative life, because it's the same, it's happening now too. So past life, alternative life, future life, whichever way you want to classify it. I've had dreams where I was on a shitty looking planet. I couldn't really tell. I thought it was Earth. Maybe it wasn't, but everything was kind of like sand except for what was behind this fence. And behind the fence was kind of stuff that was for the humans. It wasn't very advanced. It was kind of like what we would see as like a clubhouse or treehouse area where people were living. So maybe it gets shitty in the future, and we lose the technology, and all we have is a few trees that we could grow behind a fence. On the wrong side of the fence was a desert, and there was some sort of I'm not gonna say alien tornado. It was just like a unknown entity that I can't recognize with my human experience, but it looked like a tornado, but it was also an animal spinning around, and it looked pretty mad and angry, and it was just trying to attack the people. But yeah, So maybe that's from a future life or an alternative world. I mean, it's just up to us to take care of the planet and hopefully we don't mess it up. So the other dream type I have is spiritual dreams. Let me see what I wrote. Okay, so when I say spiritual dreams, I mean like spiritual encounter dreams, which kind of overlaps with some of the other categories. And I kind of mentioned one of these earlier, where I was in like the journalism room of my high school. I don't know why it started there, but I opened the door and then I found myself on the San Antonio River. It didn't look exactly like how it looks from real life. There was some more bridges. It was more adobe architecture. But when I looked at the river, I wanted to swim in it, and then I was in the water. But then the water started to bulge up and go like the reverse direction of what the way the water flows. And then the river looked kind of angry. It was angry that it was blocked. It couldn't move the way it wanted to, and it was angry that people weren't allowed to swim in it in waking life. In San Antonio, it's illegal for people to swim in the Yanaguana River. The historical name to it, not the colonial name, the San Antonio River. But yeah, I just felt like the river was just so angry and frustrated that it couldn't move the way it wanted to. I mean, there's nothing I do about it as a single person in the city, in real life, in waking life. But yeah, so it started to bulge up and the water was going to go in the reverse direction and hit me. So I like hopped out of the river and I kind of just scurried up on a pillar trying to get out of its way because it was going to flood the opposite direction. So even though the river isn't like a formal person or mammal, it still seemed to have a spirit that was talking to me in that dream. My other spiritual encounter dream, which is a lot more lighthearted, was in my example's sake that I have here. I was with my spirit guides. I didn't see them in any particular body, in any particular what they were doing or wearing or looking like, but I knew they were around me. And at the time I was wearing a kind of a ruffle, ruffle dress kind of moved, and it was in a rainbow color pattern, like red to orange and upwards. I still want to make that dress, but it was just kind of like me being myself and being happy, expressing myself in that dream, but knowing that there was the spiritual guides around me. So that's that one. Okay, so I mean those are the dream types that I have classified, which do overlap. So what do you want to do with this? How do you want to get more dreams? If you want to have something like this, if you want to have an astral projection dream, conscious dream, or just a dream, maybe you just forget everything, the first thing to do would be to get more sleep. If you're not getting an abundant amount of sleep, then there's less opportunities to dream. Your body will probably be recapping or recouping everything it can, and you won't have the excess time to go explore. The other thing would be to make sure you watch what you watch. If you have dreams where you're having a lot of bloody, violent stuff, like a fleeting dream, stop watching violent movies. Be mindful of what you take in, because that will somehow end up in your dream properly. Let's see, the other things I have. Oh yeah, dream signs. A lot of times in my dreams there'll be like dream signs, which once you recognize them you could realize it's a dream and then turn it into an astral projection dream or a conscious dream, whatever you want to do. Sometimes you'll notice if there's a cobblestone floor, maybe the pattern gets out of whack and it can't stay quite right. I've had times where I opened a microwave door and it still kept microwaving, like it was, that's not how microwaves work in real life. Electronics don't work very well in dreams. Phones don't work well in dreams. My Tesla Model 3, which is electronic, doesn't work well in dreams. It goes places without me. I'm like, come back, and the Tesla app doesn't work. So electronics don't work in dreams, and if that happens, you might realize maybe I'm dreaming. Sometimes I'll have fish. Even though I haven't had a fish tank with actual fish in it for years, I'll still have fish dreams from when I was a teenager, and I had a fish tank where the fish in the dreams will like violate the rules of physics. They'll start just swimming through the air versus going in the water, so then I'll be trying to push these fish down, or maybe there was only 2 fish and then I turned back and forth and now there's 10. Something about the fish like count changes. It's kind of like being in maybe like imagine there's like some shitty programming around where things are inconsistent. Or you're in a bad storyteller, like things don't match up and they're just trying to put it back to how it was when you looked away. I don't know. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, I guess another easy thing to have more conscious waking dreams, or whatever you want to say, is to ask yourself more often if you're dreaming when you're awake, when you know you're awake, because if you're doing that when you're awake, you're going to likely carry that habit into when you're dreaming. So then you could be asking yourself, am I dreaming? And then you can analyze what's around you. Does it make sense? Does it look right? Are you able to fly? Are you able to breathe underwater? Well, maybe you're dreaming. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess because of the pandemic, I get more dreams, I get more sleep. And it could be kind of boring just being home, living alone. So you might find it's fun to do things in your dreams and remember what you did all night. It could be very exciting, and you don't have to follow the rules of time, the law of what city you're in. You don't have to follow the rules of nature. Like, again, you could breathe underwater, do what you want. Once you realize you're dreaming, you're like, well, this is a boring dream. You could open a door, find yourself looking down on a lush river, and then you could just jump into it. You can do whatever you want. And I know people will probably think, well, it's just a dream. Why are you wasting your time? That seems like an American way to think about it. Other cultures will have more importance and value on dreams. And it doesn't really matter what your people around you think. It's up to you whether you want to value it, think it's important, and if it brings meaning to you. If you think something is real, then that's all it takes for it to be real. What is it? I think, therefore I am, and then you have perception is reality kind of phrasing. So, I mean, if you think it's real, in your dreams you smelled it, you tasted it, you touched it, you experienced it, how is it any less real than being in waking life? Some people will also describe waking life to be the dream and the spirit world to be the reality. So the dream world is the reality, and right now is the dream. I found that kind of theme in some Chinese series that I've been watching too, which is interesting. Just you go into a different country and they have a completely different culture and mindset of how they classify these things. Well, thank you for hearing my long rant. I hope you enjoyed it.